The description says they asked me to sign up for tournaments, find information, build a schedule, talk about IHSFA, NSDA, prepare for a tournament, what happens at a tournament, tech at tournaments, and judges training, all in 1 hour. So we're going to go as quickly as we can through most of that stuff. And I really want you to stop me if you have questions about anything, okay? I have been doing this for about 15 years, and you read my bio. I'm sure you read my bio. I don't need to repeat that. I know there's going to be some changes in what I'm talking about because of our situation with not being able to travel or maybe not meet in person. So I have had experience. Last summer, I was in the tab room at Nationals. I've been in the tab room at Nationals for about 3 or 4 years. And of course, it was different than any other tab room that I ever worked in because it was all virtual. I worked at Nationals from this office in my home the whole entire time. So I have a feeling of what it's like to be in a tab room virtually. Our Northeast Indiana speech and debate NSDA group is going to have a fall conference for our corner of the state up here at my school virtually the first weekend of October. So I think we might be one of the first ones that try out this virtual world here in Indiana. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited because like Dan said, we have to really be excited about our events and how we are COVID proof and how we can coach virtually and how we can hold meetings virtually, how we can hold meets virtually, to keep our programs going, even when sports programs might go by the way. I know choirs are having a very difficult time. I'm hoping that the kids that usually have to decide between choir and speech, maybe they will be able to do more speech because I know vocal music is having a tough time being active because of the COVID restrictions on singing. So I think we're probably going to hopefully be more active throughout the year once we get going. So let me take you through some of the things about building your schedule. I know there's going to be some speakers who teach you about recruiting students, retaining students, getting kids all excited about it. I know there's going to be people who are teaching you about individual events and how to coach those individual events. But I just want to introduce you to some of the behind the scenes things that coaches have to do and hopefully be a resource for you. You can always reach me at the IHSFA email. You can go to ihsfa.org and click on Linda Alt and ask me any question. I don't care where you are in the state. Just ask me any question you want about any of these things we talk about today or anything that you hear later on today and you were confused and you have questions. That's why I like teaching the New Coach Academy because I really like mentoring people and helping them figure things out. And so if you need anything, just contact me. Let's take a look at the presentation. Hopefully you could see that. All right. Please turn on your microphone, someone, and tell me if you can see that slide.
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. So this presentation kind of goes after, you get some kids together. So I'm sure with the scheduling today, it just didn't work out that you have your students and you're ready to teach them about everything, but I'm sure you'll get there. I'm sure that someone will teach you about recruitment and retention. So let's pretend you've got this group of kids. They're very excited, and you have to teach them what it's like to go to a tournament too. I usually hold a fall retreat on a Sunday afternoon in early October. Ours is going to be October 11th this year. And this retreat is usually about keeping the parents in a room and teaching them how to be judges, and then taking the kids and splitting them up into small groups according to their event, and having the seniors mentor the younger kids, especially the freshmen. And so this is one way you could have the kids do this. You could also do it virtually, I'm sure, by I would probably use Zoom because I'm familiar with that. I would probably have a general session and talk to everyone, and then say, okay, parents, I'm going to put you in a breakout room together, and I'm going to have either myself or one of the veteran parents who have judged a lot talk to the parents about judging. And then I would probably have a breakout room for the interp kids and the exempt kids and the discussion kids, and have the seniors mentor all of those different groups. So let's just pretend your kids have been practicing. You're ready to teach them what it's like to go to a tournament. You yourself have never been to a tournament. You need to be able to teach them about what to expect. I can't see you right now with this slide up, so don't raise your hand. I want you to just turn that microphone on, stop me, and tell me that you have questions at any moment, okay? I'll try to pause every once in a while, and you take that opportunity and ask me anything you need to ask me, because I can't see you. All right. First of all, you want to build a schedule. You want to look and see what is available for the students to go to. And so if you go to IHSFA.org, there is a calendar there. Hopefully it'll get filled up here pretty quickly in September, so that you can kind of give the kids a calendar to follow for the whole year. However, this year, people are tentative, I think, to put anything on the calendar right now. I don't think that they're confident that there's a way to do this, but we are going to be listening to Ben Stewart on the calendar. He is speaking tomorrow at, it appears 2 o'clock, I think, or maybe 1 o'clock. It's hard to read, it's cut off. But I would suggest you go to Ben Stewart's presentation. He is the guru of SpeechWire, and he will be talking about what to expect at virtual tournaments, how to set up virtual tournaments, how to register for virtual tournaments. So that's going to be very, very important. I think that a lot of people attend that session so that we all are on the same page about these virtual tournaments. I know there are going to be some coaches who are going to be trying some in-person tournaments with lots of safeguards and safety measures. I talked to Katie Anders, and she was talking about in December having a tournament where people could be in person, and how to split people up and how to keep people away from each other, and social distancing and wearing masks, et cetera, et cetera. So I think there's going to be some in-person and some virtual. You would find those offerings on the IHSFA calendar, and also the SpeechWire calendar. And the SpeechWire calendar is updated whenever a coach signs up for SpeechWire. And in Indiana, we use SpeechWire a lot. There are other offerings for running a tournament out of your school. Speechwire is the most popular right now to run a tournament out of, but there's also something called Tab Room, and you could also look on Tab Room and see what that calendar looks like and build your calendar. Now, I think what's exciting about these virtual tournaments is the fact that the kids don't have to get up at 4:30 in the morning and get on a cold bus in December and drive 2 hours somewhere. We might get some kids who that is really turning them off. They really don't want to do that on a Saturday. If we tell them you don't have to be present until 7:50 in your own home, turn on your computer and join us for this tournament, I think we might get some borderline people who really would be really good at speech and debate, but they don't want their entire Saturday taken up, and they don't like that bus ride. So look at the different calendars, and if it's virtual, see if you might be able to attend that tournament if there's no restrictions on it. Sometimes, like our tournament, October 3rd, we're saying that's for Northeast Indiana Congress. And we are just limiting it to Northeast Indiana for our Congress because we're selecting bills and writing bills and presenting bills that the kids are writing for Northeast Indiana district stuff. So that's probably not an open tournament, and some tournaments are open so that you could sign up for them. Okay. First, any questions about where to find a calendar? Okay. All right. So let's go to the next one. You will need to create a SpeechWire account and a login to be able to use that SpeechWire. And you can do that at any time. It doesn't cost anything. It's just nice to go in there and kind of play around with it and look and see what it looks like ahead of time, so that when it is time to start signing up for tournaments, you've already got your account established and you have your login information ready to go. You can even go in and put in your roster, and then when it's time to sign up for a tournament, you can just start typing a student's name and it should autofill for you. So that's a nice feature of SpeechWire, that once your name is in there, you can just autofill pretty quickly and sign everybody up for whatever event that they want to sign up for. When you sign up for a tournament, you will click on it and you'll want to indicate that you're coming. And you can do that by clicking on this school bus, and you can just click on whether or not you will attend. And that really helps the tournament director. As you can see, this sample one, we've got the date and we've got the place, and you are logged in as the coach of, and I'm from Canterbury, so that filled in. And if you click will attend, then the coach who is hosting it will be able to quickly see how many teams are going to be in attendance. Also, you'll get to see some general information. For example, that might be where the coach has put the invitation that gives you all the details that you need to know about that tournament. Files for download is also a really good place to go to see any prompts that you need to share with your students. For example, if you have radio students, that's where the radio information will be, so that they can start preparing for their commercials and editorials and things like that. That's also where your discussion topics will live. So that's a very important button right there, files for download. You can kind of look at the tournament schedule, and you will have students that say, what time do you think we'll be done? And you can kind of look at the schedule and estimate, but always estimate late, because even though the tournament schedule might say the last round starts at 2, in reality, the last round might start at 3. So it's always better to tell students that it's going to end like at 5, but in your head, it might end at 4. But at least when you get out early, that's better, because you don't want to tell them, oh, it looks like it's going to end at 4. And so they make plans for 5 o'clock, and then their plans are ruined. So you can look at the tournament schedule, but sometimes we can't stay on schedule, because of other factors that we can't control. The fees button, usually there aren't any fees until sectionals and state and districts and things like that. But this year, since virtual rooms cost anywhere from $2 to $6 and up per room, and some tournaments take 22 rooms, 27 rooms, 33 rooms, sometimes the tournament directors might have to charge a nominal fee, like $1 or $2 per student or something, because of the fact that we won't have any fundraising opportunities at these tournaments. Many times at tournaments, you can have fundraising opportunities, such as selling food to the students, and then that will help you pay for the speech wire and the rooms and custodial workers, any ribbons, trophies. But since some of these virtual tournaments, we won't have any income, there might be a nominal, tiny fee for attending, or perhaps they will forego the trophies to save some money. There's going to be a lot of adaptations, and I think they're all going to be kind of different this year. And it'll depend on the coach, and it'll depend on the team that they're coaching, and it depend on whether they have some money left over from last year. I know I have money left over from last year because we didn't have state tournament. Some haven't had a fundraiser since last fall, let alone trying to do a fundraiser this fall. So I think it's going to vary. So always check your invitations in that general information and see if there's going to be a fee. And this button then is where you would generate an invoice. Okay. The registration handbook just gives you all this information I just talked about. Am I going too fast? Hello?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I just feel like I'm rushing because there's so much I want to tell you, and so much on my list. I'm looking at my list. And so if you think I'm going too fast, you just let me know. And I think we're recording this, so you can always go back over the information if you need to. Okay, so oops. No. Shoot. Can you still see that? Hello?
No, we cannot.
Oh, okay. Let me just look here. Okay. Oh yeah, I want to share this some more because there's registration stuff on here. Okay. Somehow I clicked on the wrong thing and now I've lost it. Okay. Okay. Present now. Chrome tab. Attend a tournament. Share. Okay, you see a school bus? Do you see a school bus?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So, of course, if you're going somewhere, always secure the proper transportation. And you might see on like a Google map that a particular school is, let's say, 1 hour and 15 minutes away. Always add 15 or 20 minutes to your arrival time, because buses go a lot slower. Buses have to stop for railroad crossings, and there's just, you don't want to be late for a tournament. You don't want to be rushing in and then the kids are all a little flustered. So make sure that you build in some time to arrive early enough. Now, I am one of the early birds. I'm always there at 7. If the meet starts at 8, I'm always there at 7. I just want my kids to relax. I want them to practice, warm up. I want them to look for rooms. I want them to drink plenty of water. I want them to get the lay of the land. And so we're usually there at 7. But other schools come in at 7:45 and the meet starts at 8. But that is really, that's not ideal. It's not ideal for the kids, and it's not ideal for the host. The host really needs to know all the teams are there, because then they can push that button on SpeechWire that says schedule the tournament, and they know that all the teams are there, all the students are there. They know which students have had to drop, and that's what we call students who aren't able to come with us that day. Maybe they were ill, maybe they missed the bus, and we call them drops. And that's the first thing that the host school is going to do when they greet you at the door. They're going to say, welcome to our tournament. Do you have any drops? So make sure that you keep track of those drops. It is super, super nice of you to text those drops to the host as soon as you get on the bus, because then the host can finish up all of the last minute things. And many invitations these days say at the very end of the invitation, please text your drops as soon as you know. So maybe you're getting on the bus at 6 a.m. and the tournament starts at 8. While you're sitting there in that parking lot waiting for the last one to come, text that host your drops, and it makes the whole day go much smoother. If you walk in at 7:45 and the meet starts at 8, and you say, oh yeah, by the way, I have 5 drops, that really messes up with the schedule. So I just want to teach everybody who is new to text those drops ahead of time to the host. And it is really good protocol. Okay. When you are going to go to a tournament, the host has done every single thing on this page. They have gone through this scheduling manager and scheduled the tournament. They've added the judges, they've added the rooms, they've come up with the schematics, they have printed things, they are constantly checking the team button to see who is coming and who has dropped. They're looking at the fees, the time slots. I just wanted to show you this page, not to scare you away from hosting, but to tell you that you, as the invitee, have this wonderful opportunity for your kids. And the more you can help your host, the more likely we get more hosts in the future and repeat hosts. We want to show them that we value their time. We value all of the work that they've put into this. We value the money they've put into this. And we're going to do everything that the invitation tells us to do. That's the least we can do for these hosts. If you have the opportunity to work in a tab room, which I hope you do this year, I hope everyone's inviting new people in, maybe for a round that they have off, or maybe for half a day if they don't have any schedule. Um, and ask people, can I work in your tab room? If you have a friend who's hosting, see if you can work in a tab room so you can see how all the interworkings go. And those coaches that see the interworkings of a tournament then become good attendees, then become better coaches, then are able to tell their students a little bit more about how to run a tournament and what goes on into it and how they should act at a tournament and how they should be thankful that there's a tournament to attend, because there's a lot that goes into it. So we want the best tournaments possible for these kids, and it starts with people making sure they follow the invitation. When you get into SpeechWire and you're ready to sign up for a tournament, you will get a page that looks like this, and it will say, it'll give the title of whatever you're trying to enter, and you just like if you have a policy debate tournament team, you click add entry, and then you fill in the names. Sometimes the tournaments might be novice, sometimes varsity, sometimes both. And so this button here is very important to pay close attention to, especially if the tournament is combined, if there's novice students and varsity. Novice is usually defined as first-year students, no matter what they're in. So you want to make sure your novice students don't accidentally get put in with some varsity students by clicking this drop-down box and saying, okay, I have a novice student in this one. Maybe the next entry you put in for your duos, maybe you have varsity kids, so you have to put in varsity. So please, please, please make sure you have the right thing, varsity and novice. Another thing you'll see on here is, is there's a little box here that says drop. Now, as you come up to a tournament, I promise you, there's going to be someone who says, I'm not ready. I didn't get my material written, or I didn't get it memorized, or something's come up. We have to go to my grandma's house. So if you have students that say that, you can go ahead and click drop the student. Usually you can drop students clear up until like Friday night, and that will help your host. They will see those drops, and the computer will take care of all of that, and the host won't have to do anything. So update your drops as you get them. When you come to sectionals and districts and state tournaments, there are fines for drops that are dropped after certain deadlines. So pay attention to your invitations. Always read those carefully, highlight them, and don't miss deadlines, because when you come to district, state, sectional kind of tournaments, if you drop after deadlines, you might incur fines. So make sure you keep this really up to date. When you get to a tournament, so you've got everybody registered. Well, let's stop. Let's pause. I want to see you. Does anyone have any questions about signing up for tournaments? Calendars or signing up for tournaments? Brian?
Thank you, Linda. So I'm on the SpeechWire, and I went to Calendar, Indiana, all levels, opens and invitationals.
Yeah.
I'm on the upcoming tournaments. I see one in Fishers that I really like for November 7th, the debate meet. But there's no like clickable links to access it.
Very good. Very good. Okay. So like right now, I have my tournament on SpeechWire too, but until I open that up and start filling in things, like putting the invitation in there, and I'm sure Fishers hasn't put their invitation in there or anything yet. Once we put the invitations in there, then you usually can start clicking on things that say register or you want to attend. So it's a little early. So just keep watching that. What's nice is you can go ahead and put that on a calendar for students.
Yeah.
But you might personally not be able to get into it until Fisher's or Plymouth or whoever is hosting actually has put something in there for you to look at.
That makes sense. And then second question, can I register before actually having students to compete in the competition?
You can always say, yes, I will attend.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then once you figure out which students are going to attend, then you can start adding those in. Yeah.
Linda, I have a question.
Yeah.
I was looking at the Munster October 20th novice speech meet because we have a lot of new kids. And I've noticed, I kind of know how SpeechWire works, and they don't have the information there. But then I noticed when I went to the IHSFA calendar, it says that it's invite only. So does that mean I should not be planning on that?
What I would do is, especially new people, and I'm hoping this is true for all coaches, all veteran coaches. I am hoping that if you just send him an email, that you will get an invitation. Because everyone who has a new program, I don't care where they are in the state, they should be able to get into whatever tournament is close and good for them to attend. So please, please, please don't hesitate to email people and say, hey, could I get in? Even if it says invitation only, and explain that you're a new coach and you just want to get your kids started on something.
Yeah, because they're gonna lose interest if we need some kind of something to look forward to. So
correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Right.
Linda, one other question. So if to email a coach, do we just look at the IHSFA website and look at the school, and there should there be emails there?
If they're a part of the board, I know all the board members have their emails on there. Now, when it comes time for the other coaches, I don't know if we're even allowed to publish that on IHSFA, just everybody's email. So you might, let's see, if I were to do that, I would probably, look at the invitation, because even if it says by invitation only, you should be able to see the invitation, and that should have the person's contact information in it. There might even be a place on SpeechWire, if you play around with it, where you might be able to find a drop down box that might have contact information for different schools that have tournaments registered. And then there's always look at Google the school and see if you can get at least an office phone number, and then ask the office if you could leave a message for a coach and get their email address that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. I figured that'd probably be the case.
Yeah, I'm sorry it's so difficult.
That's all right. Thank you.
I know as a sectional chair, I have all the emails in my sectional. So if you find out who your sectional chair is, and you can do that through ihsfa.org, you could always email the sectional chair too and say, I don't have a contact information for this particular school. Do you have a contact information? And that might be another way, because sectional chairs have a lot more email access to different people too.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now I'm going to talk. Let's see. It's 10:21. I have 10 minutes. All right, I'm looking at my list of things I'm supposed to do. All right, I'm gonna walk you through what to tell kids to expect at a tournament real quick, and then answer any questions about IHSFA or NSDA if you have questions about those. Okay, does that sound like a plan? Okay, do you see a schematic now on the screen?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so you've got them on the bus. When you walk into a tournament, you will see a table and it'll have envelopes. And the envelopes usually contain maps of the school so you can find your rooms. And they will contain a list of the students that you have entered and their numbers. And it might contain a letter to your judges to give judges some information about judging. Oh, that's on my list. Judges training. We're not going to get to that. That just might have to be something we send out or something, because we're not going to get to judges training. That's for sure. When you go to a tournament, you will need to bring a certain number of judges per entry. Now, usually it's 5 to 6. So let's say you have 6 entries, 2 duos, 2 original oratories, 2 informative kids. Okay. So the host school will say for every 6 entries, those kids you just brought, you have to have a judge. And you are supposed to be judge number 1. You put that in where you register your judges, you put your name in first as the head coach. If you have an assistant coach, put them in as the second one. There, boom, boom, you've got 12 entries covered. And a lot of new programs only have 12 kids. So you and your assistant coach may be able to cover all your judging responsibilities. But if you have a bigger team with more entries than that, you need to ask some judges to come with you. And those are usually parents that you have trained. And I wish I had another half hour to tell you how to train judges, but I don't. So let's take a look at a schematic. When you walk in, you'll go to the cafeteria, you'll pick a table, you sit down, you'll tell the kids their numbers. And as you can see in this schematic, there's like M2, W3, E1. Well, we always get a letter assigned to our school. And that letter is more important than you can imagine, because, and they usually put it really big on the outside of your envelope or your folder that you get when you walk in the door, because you will receive some critique sheets, or if we do the ballots all online, which I won't get to that either today, which is something that's really nice to talk to you about. The critique sheets here in the fall and clear up until district competition and sectional competition, give your kids some feedback. They tell the kids, here are some of the things you're doing really well, and here are some things that you probably could improve upon. And those critique sheets, the kids have to put their school code on it. So if your school code E, make sure they put E on their critique sheet, because those all get turned into the tab room or the office, and someone in the office sorts all of those into those envelopes. And at the end of the tournament, you get all of those back. And if the kids don't put, like, my school code is T, if they don't put their school code on that critique sheet, they won't get it back. And it's a valuable little piece of information. And now some people, like me, I like to look at all those critique sheets before I give them to the kids. And I like to sort them so that I have, like, there are 4 critique sheets for rounds 1 through 4, and staple them together. And I can look and see, like, if their time was consistent. I look to see if more than one judge said, you are doing something odd with your hands, or you need to stand still, or you had a lapse in memory about halfway through. If there's something that seems to be consistent, we are going to focus on that at the next practice. If there's a oddball critique sheet that has something that might pick at the child that they have no control over. You have a twitch in your eye. It's very distracting. Well, I'm going to take that out because they can't help the twitch. Or your clothes were not appropriate. Well, if they're wearing the best clothes they can, if you have told them, you know, dress as professionally as you can. And I encourage kids to go to Goodwill and find dress pants, find dress shirts, find ties, find professional looking skirts or dress pants. You want to pull that critique sheet out so that they don't see something that they had no control over and it was kind of rude. Okay. So the school code number is very important. As you can see on the schematic, it's pretty intuitive what to do. The judge will go to round 1 at 9 o'clock. Judge U4 will go to room 101, and they're going to listen to these contestants in 101. And this is round 1, round 2, round 3. Most tournaments have 3 rounds and a final, or 4 straight rounds. 3 rounds and a final just means that they only take the top 6 students to a final after rounds 1, 2, and 3. Some tournaments have just 4 straight rounds so that all kids get to speak 4 rounds, and they don't have a final. They just take the scores from 4 rounds and determine the winners. So teach them how to read a schematic, teach them the numbers. I think this will be part of the recording, so you could always bring this up, or you can put up, I think I got these examples from SpeechWire. So you can also get the examples off of SpeechWire and put them up on a screen so the kids can see what they're expected to do. All right. This is where, it's 10:28. This is where I would teach you all about judges and filling out a ballot. But we had kind of a late start. So let's see what's next. Maybe you guys could talk. The next person is Ronnie Swango, Effective Methods for New Coaches. If he gives you an opportunity, if he has extra time and he doesn't talk about judges, you could ask him about, you know, what you should, how you should train judges. There's just recording points at the end of the tournament. I'm just going to skip to this because training judges is like almost, I could talk about that for half an hour. One last thing about when you're done with a tournament, you will get a piece of paper that looks like this from your host. And it will have your student's name on it. And see this 1, 2, 3, and F. This is round 1 score, round 2 score, round 3 score, and their final round scores if they made it to final rounds. And this is how many, this is how we determine who got first, second, third, fourth. This, if you join the NSDA, which is the National Speech and Debate Association, you will want to keep this piece of paper in your possession until you enter it into the NSDA website. A lot of people lose these papers at the end of the tournament. They don't know what they are. They're like, okay, whatever. The kids are going to want to look at this and see what their scores were. But don't let it out of your possession. I usually say, at the first practice that you come to after this tournament, I will tell you what your scores were, because you will want to keep this if you join the National Speech and Debate Association, and you need to join the National Speech and Debate Association if you want to go to districts and nationals. If you are not a member of that, and if the kids haven't acquired 25 points each, those students can't enter districts and they can't have a chance to go to nationals if that's one of your main goals. And I'm over time, so I'm just going to go back to seeing your faces here, and I'm going to stop presenting, and I'm going to see if there's any quick questions before you leave to go to effective methods.
No, I'm good. Thank you, Linda.
Okay.
Linda, I had a quick question.
Sure.
Something came up. I didn't hear the very last thing you said. Each student has to have 25 points before they can compete at districts?
Correct.
Okay. But not at state, right?
Not at state. No, IHSFA has nothing to do with the NSDA points at all. Okay. So if you join the NSDA, you will get invitations to sectionals. Mm-hmm. And then if you have people who qualify, they get to go to state. And there's no points. Okay. The NSDA is totally separate, and we have district tournaments starting in January, ending with the first one in March, or last one in March. And the top two in those, usually top two, go to nationals.
Right. I'm familiar. I used to compete, so I remember that. But do the 25 points have to be earned this year, or can they be from previous years?
They're cumulative.
Okay. So
they're cumulative.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then once they pay, like a student pays to become a member, mm-hmm. Is that just a one-time?
Yep, it's a lifetime.
Okay. All right.
Yep. That's and those points follow them. Right. So like I have middle school kids, check and see if you have a middle school program that feeds your school.
Okay.
Because the middle school points will come over to the high school, but only 10% of them. But sometimes that's enough to really get them going.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'll accumulate points too. And every 5 years, NSDA looks to see, where you're at. And every 5 years you can earn your diamonds and stuff. Like when you guys see someone says they're like a 2-diamond coach, like I'm a 2-diamond coach, it just means that after 10 years, I have so many NSDA points, and you earn points too through NSDA.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Okay. Alrighty then. I might see some of you tomorrow in another one that I'm doing. But you have my contact information, and please, please, please just let me know if you have any questions or if you need anything sent to you. If you need handouts for something, I have lots of stuff.
Hey, Linda, you can take about 7 more minutes.
7 more minutes, Fred?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Thank you. I'm going to talk to him about judges.
Yep. Okay. There's another workshop that's coming up about judges that Jeannie's going to be offering tomorrow.
Jeannie will do it. Okay.
Yeah. So if they have any kind of focused questions or whatever about what you presented, you can have, I already told Ronnie, so you got about 6-7 more minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right.
You have to have a SRT library pass. Okay.
Linda, do you have a question?
Oh, sorry, that was a student.
I forgot. Some of you guys are at school. I'm
still teaching. Sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. I'm just glad you guys are here.
I'm not bitter that they would not get me a sub. No.
Okay. All right. That's all right. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more then about the NSDA, and if Jeannie is going to train you about judges, then I'll skip judges. Let's talk a little bit maybe about ballots, okay? Because you all are going to be judges, and you need to fill in ballots, and you need to fill in critique sheets, okay? So when you are preparing to go to a tournament, I know I always appreciate having a parent along, even if the parent says, I'm uncomfortable with judging. Okay, you'll always have this parent. You will ask the parents all to judge, and then they will be hesitant. Well, it's the first time. Can I just go and observe? Can I just? And that's fine. Please invite them along, because you might be judging all day yourself, and it's nice to have a parent in the cafeteria that can kind of keep an eye on the kids' stuff, that kind of troubleshoot things. I mean, you can't imagine. You kind of have this little kit. You'll develop a little kit, I tell you, to take along with you to tournaments. For example, you'll see a student, boy or girl, who has their hair hanging in their eyes, and they're walking in the door, and you know that someone's going to say on their critique sheet, well, I couldn't see your face, couldn't see your facial expression, your hair's here. So you might carry some bobby pins. You will have girls who do not wear pantyhose, so their shoes will rub and they will have blisters. So you'll need to carry some Band-Aids and make sure that they have Band-Aids to cover up those blisters. You might have people who are who forget to bring their water. You might bring a couple of extra waters along, or some extra change to give to people to buy a water. I make it a habit not to buy lunches for students. Usually the kids have so much money with them that they can ask a friend, can I? But if I see a kid without water, I hand them a bottle of water, because they really need to stay hydrated during a tournament. You might bring extra stopwatches for judges who don't have stopwatches with them. But those ballots, whether they're electronic or not, the number one thing you need to remember about ballots is the person who does the best in the round gets a 1. Okay? So no matter what you do, tell every judge that you know, the best one in the round gets a 1, because it's the lowest accumulated points that wins the tournament, not the highest. Okay, it's kind of like golf. Just think golf. You want to have a low score. You don't want to have a high score. Filling in those ballots is key. Getting those back to the office as fast as possible is key. Hitting submit when the ballot is done, if it's electronic, is key. Getting that quickly to the office. Those critique sheets I told you about, when you're filling those in, here's some strengths, here's some weaknesses. Those can be filled out later and turned in later. We want to keep tournaments moving smoothly. You will see at tournaments kids talking to walls, and that's what you want your kids doing in between rounds. And just have them find a wall and warm up at the tournament before they start speaking. Any questions? I feel like now I'm discombobulated when I was given extra time. And it is 10:40. So thank you again for everyone for coming, because it's so much easier to train a large group of people all at once than like individual people, as you know. So thank you for being a part of the class, and I'll let you go now.